Mariah was recently asked about her old writing partner, Walter, in a new interview, and here's what she had to say. Hey kids, Treacle here. Welcome back to my channel. We've already spoken once about the Questlove Supreme podcast interview that Mariah gave. She recorded it over the Christmas, New Year, Aspen moment retreat that she has every year. Part 1 was 1 hour 43 and it's full of goodies and gems. I've already spoken to you about her comments on the Caution album and how she felt that was a little bit not quite finished. She could have given us a little bit more. I spoke about that in my previous video. Go and check it out if you haven't seen that already. Another topic that she covered in this interview, well, she was asked about it, I don't think she would have gone there, was her old writing partner, Walter, let me try and pronounce it, Afanasieff. I will say it once, Walter. Because I don't think I can say his surname properly. But anyway, Mariah and Walter, in the early part of her career, wrote so many of her biggest hits, and it is a really important professional relationship in her career. I've got a list of content that I want to get out this year, and I've got Mariah and Walter on the list, but it's such a big topic. I think I'd rather do it as like a panel discussion with other people. So it's an idea I'm developing. Let me know what you think about that. But I want to talk about it briefly today because Mariah did talk about Walter. She was asked about this relationship specifically. So it wasn't like a two-part question or like a Walter's name came up in a broader question. She was specifically asked to comment on that working relationship. So it was a very difficult moment to dodge. So she handled it well, I think. She tackled it head on. But let's jump in, listen to what Mariah said, and then we'll talk.
What was working with Walter Afanasieff like? What was he like in the studio? I always admired, like one of my favorite song of yours is "Can't Let Go," and I just thought that's just that sound that you and him had together was just a very pop, like super clean, and just the sheen that he would have on those records. I just want to know, what was he like in the studio, because he's not someone I've really read or know much about.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you. We Can't Let Go. Walter was a great writing partner. I would always try to steer things more in the Can't Let Go direction because it was a little bit slightly more R&B. We could also do these big sweeping things like Till the End of Time, which only like the Lambs would know.
And I like that song. Love you till the end of time.
That was when I got to really express myself on the outros, on the doing the background vocal parts, like doing those, arranging that stuff. But I really liked working with him in that way. There were some incestuous situations where, let's just call it the record company and the publishing situations where, I don't want to get into this very specifics. It was too, how do you call it? It was a bit incestuous because people were like, how do I say it? Oh Lord.
So it was like, was it like the label had a piece of Walter, so like they got more of a... I wouldn't want to go saying that because I don't know for sure. But I'm just saying certain people in my life had that other connection. For the most part, when I'm coming up with melodies and I'm singing it to somebody like, hey, can you play this? I just know how to hear it. So I'll be hearing something, and until somebody gets it where I'm hearing it, I'll be like, no. And then we get there. And then from there, he and I will say, had a really good flow with putting stuff together. So it's no shade towards him. I wish him well, whatever. But I will say, like, that was a moment in time, and I'm very thankful for it.
So Walter is a name that Mariah doesn't speak very often. She has to kind of get around it when she talks about All I Want for Christmas Is You each year, because that was a partnership. Now, you hear Mariah talk about in this interview that she kind of went to Walter with most of the song written. It was just the bridge, the melody, and the lyrics of that section she didn't have, but the verses and chorus was pretty much locked down. They've kind of, over the years, given their own versions. They do diverge more and more as the years go on, but overall they both acknowledge it was a partnership. They did write the song together, they just take credit for different proportions. I'm not interested in the nitty gritty, but I think it is a really important relationship, not just for that song. Some of her best loved ballads by me and by many of you in the Lamely are songs that Mariah wrote with Walter. The relationship did turn sour, and we get to a point where Mariah is simply not working with Walter anymore, and it's more of a historical moment. It is a period that she's grateful for, but it was a moment, and since then she's had many writing partners and collaborators that she enjoys as much success as she did with Walter, or more, or just more personal, professional fulfillment. So she'll never get away from Walter, nor does she feel the need to, I think. But that was back then, and this is now. And I feel like that's the attitude that Mariah kind of gives off in the interview. I'm not 100% in the know of what went down, but my basic understanding is from Mariah's memoir, The Meaning of Mariah Carey, and from interviews and tidbits from across the years, is that Walter was kind of in Tommy's pocket. So Mariah has used the term mob-like loyalty in the past. And I think that applies to people like Walter. Yes, she had a good, strong, professional relationship with Walter, but he was always running to Tommy and reporting back. So I don't think that Mariah felt she could really trust Walter, and certainly that would have been a problem when it comes to the breakdown of her marriage. That gets dissolved, she gets divorced, and how does she move forward in her life and continue to work with someone who ultimately is always going to run back to Tommy and, you know, say what's going on in her personal life and professionally what they're working on? It's just not going to work for her. I think there's even more than that. I remember in one interview, Walter has said that singers, divas, they're very talented, but they also have insecurities and they don't like it when they work with other people. And I think he was getting to a point of kind of not saying, but intimating that Mariah didn't like that Walter was going off and working with Celine Dion. And I'm certainly in my mind questioning how Mariah feels about Celine Dion. Again, just with things that she has said across the years. It's a difficult spot to be in. You create beautiful music with someone, but you are now moving into a different era, not just with your personal life, but your professional life. You want to work with different people. And although you've enjoyed lots of success with people, are they going to migrate across into this new chapter? Probably not. Some of us think there's even deeper things. Remember in the memoir, Mariah talks about the butter knife incident, and Tommy Mottola held a butter knife up against her face in like a threatening, angry manner. There was that whole scene at the kitchen counter, kitchen table, and there were two people there Mariah says she had very, very strong working professional relationships with, but they had mob-like loyalty to Tommy. And I've had conversations with people where we think one of them may have been Walter. So yeah, she's in a real tough spot. So I think she's in a tough spot present day as well, because she has to acknowledge, here we are in 2021, she's been asked about Walter, she has to comment, and she wants to speak well of him, and she does say, I wish you well. I think she's very gracious, and I think she handles that question very, very well. But if she doesn't make it explicitly clear, I certainly understand that she is never going to work with him again. And I don't think we're ever going to have like a sit-down interview or like a reunion or anything like that. I think that is what was in the past, and in the present day, it's just an awkward question that has to be handled very occasionally. What do you guys think of Mariah and Walter's relationship back in the day and now? Do you find it interesting or awkward when they talk about each other in interviews, or do you just not care because it was so many years ago? And what are some of your favorite Mariah and Walter collaborations? There are so many beautiful songs they made together. Which are some of your favorites? Let me know in the comments section. I will catch you up in the comments section, and I'll see you back here again soon for another video. Cheers, thanks a lot.